I want us to begin from the point of this conversation about 2022, and I'm just wondering, where is it back now? It appears through the back door, because a few weeks ago we saw the Deputy President giving a statement that all those people that are campaigning for him should stop using his name. Now we see a Mount Kenya group being formed. What is the name? I saw the name as, let me see if I can find that. I'll find it. Yes, Mount Kenya and Diaspora Leaders Forum to defend him from perceived rebels gravitating towards Ruto. So they have formed a group to defend President Kenyatta against the Tanga team. That is in quotes. Why are we back here?
To be honest with you, I think it's because sometimes politicians in Kenya don't have much to do. The way I look at it, this issue makes us waste so much time discussing a non-issue. I think, one, we have 3 years to go to the elections. Number two, the other feeling I have is that the politicians, some of the politicians from Mount Kenya region, some of them are bitter because they were part and parcel of the supposed team that was rigged out by the Deputy President. And therefore, they feel and they're behaving all the time as if they have a bone to pick with him. And there are also some individuals from the central region, either because President Uhuru has not directly come out and given them instructions that let us continue supporting the DP, or let us make sure the DP is going to be the Jubilee candidate in the coming elections. They are grappling in the dark. They are trying to figure out how do they become relevant? And number two, how are they going to position themselves during this transition period?
Right.
If you come to the issue of Ford Kenya, I think my party leader, Moses Wetangula, is basically raising a very critical issue, which some people are very uncomfortable with. But I think some of these things in Kenya, we need to discuss them. But again, you also need to look at politics in Kenya from the legal point and from the political point. The legal point is, I don't think anything stops the Deputy President from running as a candidate come in the next election, which is going to be 2022. But at the same time, I also feel that Honorable Wetangula is positioning himself so that he then can start mobilizing his core base in Western Kenya, particularly Bungoma and Trans Nzoia, so that he can start, or he can continue being relevant, particularly after the debacle that happened last year about the swearing in and all those things.
Right.
Yes.
And I'm saying that you're a member of Ford Kenya.
Yes, I am.
So your party leader...
I'm actually the deputy party leader.
Yes.
Yes. Your
party leader, Moses Wetangula, is quoted saying that Mr. Wetangula, Ford Kenya Secretary General Sally Simiyu, and Bungoma Governor Wycliffe Wangamati, they asked Dr. Ruto to go home when his term as Deputy President ends.
Yes.
And Dr. Simiyu is saying that under the Constitution, the presidency is occupied by two people, Mr. Uhuru and Mr. Ruto.
Yes.
When the term expires for the president, it also does for his deputy, who should also move out. It is true that it will expire for his deputy presidency.
Yes.
But why are politicians misleading the populace that he shouldn't actually run for presidency?
I think the way I look at it, you know, Kenyan politics sometimes is as it is controversial as it is interesting. I think what Wetangula and his team are raising is a matter that you saw David Murathe raise, and that is some people would want an interpretation. And my brother Okothia, he might most probably put a hand into it in terms of what does actually the law say. And if you're looking at this matter in terms of whether the Deputy President can run or not run, because the President is going to finish his 2 terms, does that cascade way down to the county governments? In other words, if a governor has run and he had a deputy, are you then going to assume that the consistency in this arrangement is that once the governor has finished his 2 terms, then his deputy should also go home? I think the Kenyan political class is beginning to ask questions about some of these things. Yes.
All right. Mheshimiwa Loch, what do you think about all this?
I think that the 2 terms should be separated. the office of the president, meaning the person of the president, who the constitution limits to 2 terms of 5 years each, and I think the presidency. The presidency, as it is used, is to the extent that the ticket is of a president and a deputy. And then the occupant jointly form what you call the presidency. And that's as far as it goes. I think it's for purposes of the election itself. The limitation of the 5-year term is in respect of the person of the president, not the ticket of the presidency, in respect of them running. So I think this argument, which I think is really, and with all due respect, pedestrian, I think it is meant to whip up the public and for appealing to the public gallery. It's come before in Parliament. A member of Parliament, I think, tried to bring a petition. And that petition didn't even go past, it didn't even get to the debate stage or reference to the committee. I think it was dismissed for the simple reason that, one, it was a waste of time to even engage Parliament in that argument itself. I was going to say that maybe it should be referred to advisory, but I think it would also be a waste of the Supreme Court's time when it is very clear that the Constitution and the interpretation of the Constitution, you really refer matters for interpretation where it is not clear what the Constitution seems to be saying. And let's look also at the spirit, even if it wasn't clear. Do you think that the people of Kenya, when writing this, intended that if you ever became deputy, that's it, you never become president? Then nobody wants to be deputy. Because why do you want to be deputy and then you will never be president? And then disqualify yourself to be president? I think that debate really is not useful for anyone. I think we need to go to more meaningful things. Back to the issue about the Mount Kenya diaspora team, I think it is Minor Commander who is leading this one. I think that it is too little, too late. The president has single-handedly dealt with William Ruto. And Ruto has found more useful things to do. He now goes for talks in Qatar, whatever, in the United Kingdom. I think he pronounced it himself that Mambo Yaku 2022, he has left it. He threw all these people under the bus. And the president has sorted out the matter, really. So to come out after the fact to say that, you know, we now form a group is seeking relevance of an issue that is already gone. It's a non-issue. I doubt that William Ruto will be coming back. And the Tanga team also, I think it was also really about relevance, people looking for change and the development things which really they appropriate and give to the executive themselves in Parliament. So I think the issue is a non-issue as well, and the Minor Commander group should perhaps focus more on how can they help Uhuru Kenyatta secure his legacy, which is why the president did not want this debate in the first place, how we can deal with the big four. So to come back now and say you want to deal with Ruto is a reverse description of the Tanga Tanga. I think we should call them Tanga Tanga too, this group. I think they're doing the exact opposite.
But you guys are the politicians. Why does it feel important to defend your leader even when they're not under attack?
In terms of... give me a specific case.
Because now we see Minor Commander forming this group, Diaspora Leaders Forum, to defend him. And there are several leaders that have been cited to be members of that. In Muranga, there are MPs, Peter Kimari of Mathioya, Ruth Mwaniki of Kigumo, Waithira Muithirani, a former woman rep aspirant, and former Senator Kembi Gitura. Why does it become important for them to start now defending the president, because they are saying that the other leaders have been compromised and moved to Team Tanga Tanga? Like, what are we doing?
As my brother Mheshimiwa Okoth said, what is happening in Central is very interesting. You have a team of politicians who have basically been on the Tanga Tanga side. They joined the Tanga Tanga side, particularly after the handshake. Their belief was that they were free now to start campaigning for Deputy President Ruto, because they believed that there were no sanctions from the president, and they believed that the president had actually given a green light for them to continue doing that. And I think you're aware that many of them wanted to go to the grassroots and come in as if it was the development agenda that they were fighting for. But my honest observation is that these individuals were politically fighting the undercurrent issues which have been emanating, which have been coming up from the grassroots in Central. There are two things. Number one, there is a huge team, including Honorable Kembi Gitura, including Kabando Wakabando, including my former friend who was the chair of the Defense and Foreign Relations Committee, Ndungu Githinji. There is that group of those members of parliament who believe, like David Murathe said, that the nomination exercise which took place when the elections were taking place last time were actually a rigged exercise in their disfavor. So many of them have not pulled out and have not, this includes Maina Kamanda. Maina Kamanda believes that his loss in Starehe was actually a loss that was calculated, organized and planned by the Deputy President. They argue that the Deputy President wanted to pick newcomers, young politicians who didn't have the experience, who didn't have the muscle and the capacity to disagree with him or even raise critical issues with him. So for them, it's a personal matter. Then you have this, the second undercurrent, which is they feel, many of these politicians you see in the paper today, many of them feel that indeed they would want to chart another different political route. They would not want to be in a position whereby they are actually going to go out there and run their political game without the DP working with them. And most of them feel right now that they need to rearrange the politics of Central Mount Kenya region. They need to rethink the direction of Mount Kenya region.
Right.
Some of them feel that the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga should be given a chance to become president of Kenya. Whereas they argue that Deputy President Ruto is young enough, he can wait, he doesn't have to scramble for the presidency in the coming elections of 2022. And therefore, everybody's jostling back and forth, trying to make themselves relevant. That is actually what I feel about the Central.
All right.